What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next we are going to go over the top 25 comics I picked up this year. I've been seeing people do some videos, Instagram posts, that kind of thing about books that they picked up this year, so I thought it would be fun to go over those top 25 books that I have picked up as well. So let's get into these. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So like I said in the intro, I've seen a number of people doing kind of like recaps of their year, either on Instagram or YouTube, books they've picked up, that kind of thing. So thought I would throw my hat into the ring with this one and go over the top 25 books that I have picked up this year. Some of these books are keeper books, some of the books aren't keeper books. It's a mix. But I've ordered these in terms of value because that's just the easiest way for me to do it. But now let's get into this. And before, you might notice there's a little change in the background there. I've got, my niece gave me this Gengar. She knows that I like Pokemon. She gave me this big Gengar back there. And so he's going to be hanging out in the back of the videos for a while. So let's start with number 25. Starting with Batman, we've got Detective Comics number 68. This is the first cover appearance of Two-Face and his second appearance overall. You can see he's up there in that little watchtower there with Batman and Robin. Pretty early Batman and Robin appearance as well. This is 1942. This is a 3.5 white pages copy, one that I have been considering sending in to get cracked out, pressed, regraded, see if I can get that in a CGC case. But that is number 25. Then now number 24, this is one that I showed recently. This is Avengers number 4, 5.0, signed by Stan Lee, right here on Cap. This is the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America. And just, I mean, this is one of those, it's not like the top tier Silver Age keys, but it's like the next tier down. Awesome cover, you know, with Cap right in the center, along with a bunch of the members of the Avengers team. And so, yeah. 5.0, signed by Stan Lee, incredible looking copy. All right, now number 23. This is definitely on my keeper list. This is Spirit number 22. This is this classic Will Eisner cover where you've got basically like, this is like the femme fatale cover from the Golden Age, where it's a combination of things. You've got the woman in the red dress that just, you know, she's the singular image on the cover that just looks incredible. Then also, and it's tough with all the reflection, but just this incredible fading in the background where you go from blue to purple, this transition from blue to purple. Just I love this cover. I think the colors look incredible, and I like the singular image on the cover. So it's number 23. Then number 22, there's definitely going to be some pre-code horror in this one, and this is one of them. Haunted Thrills number 5. This is a 3.0 and just skulls on skulls on skulls. So I often talk about that skulls really make those, is a big part of the pre-code horror, you know, one of the big elements that adds a lot of value to these books. And this one has the giant skull and then all these other, you know, skeleton type creatures crawling out of it. This is a 3.0, but a solid looking 3.0. These are the types of books I like to look for where the damage is mostly on the spine, and then on the, you know, the back cover you've got some. But otherwise, just an incredible looking copy of this one. So Haunted Thrills number 5, classic skull cover. And then jumping back to the Silver Age, we've got a book that I always feel like this book is undervalued. This is Fantastic Four number 2, first appearance of the Skrulls, second appearance of the Fantastic Four. Awesome yellow cover, last 10-cent issue for the Marvel superhero characters. And you know, just I like this contrast to the black Fantastic Four on the yellow background. I think it looks great. And then you can see they aren't in their costumes yet. You get the first appearance of their costumes one issue later in issue number 3. But a 5.5, really solid copy of this one. And you know, we should hopefully be getting the Fantastic Four coming up pretty soon in the MCU. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Plus, we've already got the Skrulls, and I feel like we're just going to keep getting more and more of that moving forward. But, all right, now let's move on to number 20, Golden Age again. This is a book that is interesting. It's where when I buy a book, I don't always know if it's going to end up being a keeper or not. And when I first bought this one, it wasn't initially going to be on my keeper list. I wasn't picking it up for that reason. But once I got it in hand, I liked this book so much, made it onto my keeper list. This is Superman number 9. This is just this awesome classic yellow Superman cover. There's a number of yellow Superman covers early on in the run. This one, I think, to me, this is like the best one. I like it because it's an action shot. He's jumping through the page. I know some people like the Breaking the Chains one, but I feel like that one still feels really static. A lot of the Superman covers feel really static, but this one has that kind of like that motion to it. So really like this one, and a 6.5, which is an incredible grade. The other thing I like about these early DCs is the back covers. The back covers are almost as awesome as the front. I mean, just all this ink, the bright yellows. You've got the ads for the BB guns, which is really common. But yeah, number 20, Superman number 9. All right, number 19, probably my favorite Golden Age crime cover. This is Underworld Crime number 7. And the thing that really, to me, sets this one apart, it's whoever did the coloring, the colorist for this cover, because you've got just the fear that you can really see on her face with the reflection of the hot poker, the light from the hot poker on her face, and then just that sinister look on this guy's eyes as he's looking at, I don't know if that's her boyfriend or husband or someone else in the corner that basically they're trying to probably torture her to get him to talk, something like that. But Underworld Crime number 7, 3-0, just, yeah, awesome Golden Age crime cover. All right, now jumping back to Batman, we have Detective Comics number 156. This is the new Batmobile, and you've got this incredible, schematic of the Batmobile on the cover there. Batman and Robin working on it on the cover, with the bat face on the front of it. 6.5. This is a tough grade in this book. This book is very difficult to get in anything above low grades, and also has that, the great yellow back cover with the ad for the BB gun. Not as nice as the Superman one, because this is a little later. This is 1950, but still awesome red cover. I was, talk about that. I like the red, but Batmobile cover, great book. So let's see, that was 18. So now number 17. This is one of my favorite artists of all time. This is Frank Frazetta, Famous Funnies, number 210. This is an 8.0, so really nice condition copy of this book. I really like this cover. There's something about it where you can almost feel the motion of the characters because of the way he drew them and the flow of the water. Like the way that you see her hair and her dress underwater. There's something about it that's really appealing with this cover. But Frank Frazetta did issues 209 through 216. A number of incredible covers in that short run, and this is one of a few that are going to be showing up on this list. So Famous Funnies 210 and an 8.0. So now number 16, we've got Famous Funnies again, but this time it's a 5.0 white pages copy of issue 215. And so you can see this book I have higher up on the list, even though that prior one was an 8.0, this is a 5.0. But that prior book, there are a number of high grade copies. So that one, you have to get up into higher grades before the value spikes even more. But this one, there aren't as many high grade copies. Also being a Golden Age white page copy, this one in a 5.0 actually costs more than 210 in an 8.0. But again, an underwater cover. And, you've got Buck Rogers again battling this squid that's, again, attacking the woman in the red dress, who he is generally saving on the different covers for this run. But 215, just awesome book. So yeah, definitely if you're interested in Golden Age sci-fi type stuff, check out that Famous Funnies run from issues 209 to 216, the covers that were done by Frank Frazetta. All right, this next one, this is a book that I honestly, I didn't think that this is a book I would be able to get. So I was real happy to be able to pick this one up. Pick this one up from Bry's Comics, if you watch his channel. This is Eerie Comics number 1. This is the first dedicated horror comic. So this is a big deal for horror. It's a big deal for pre-code horror, all that kind of stuff. You've got the woman in the red dress on the cover. You've got a character that may be Nosferatu, but yeah, this is one that I've seriously been considering sending back in to get pressed and regraded. It definitely has not been pressed. It's got a pretty big spine roll on it, but one that I'm really thinking about what I might want to do with this one. But definitely on my keeper list. Just an incredible cover and incredible history to this one. All right, next up on the list, we are jumping to Batman again. And this is Detective Comics number 122. This is the first cover appearance of Catwoman. So I've got a 4.5, pretty solid presenting copy of this one. I had wanted a copy of this book ever since I had gotten kind of like into Golden Age type books. But I wanted one that presented well, and finally had a chance to pick one up this year, 4.5, that looks, you know, really presentable. But yeah, like I said, first cover appearance of Catwoman. You've also got Batman 42, which is her first cover appearance in the Batman run, but this is her first cover appearance overall. And so that, I mean, that's crazy. This is 1947. I've talked about this. Like, her first appearance is in 1940 in Batman #1, and she did not make a cover appearance for 7 years until Detective Comics number 122. All right. Now, I showed issues 210 and 215. This was the final one that I had been hunting from that run to put together kind of like my collection of the Famous Funnies issues by Frank Frazetta. I don't have all the issues. I don't personally really care much for 216 or 211, but this is 213. And you can see the number, the grade is even lower on this one, and it's even higher on the list, and that's because this is the most expensive book from the run. My favorite issue from the run is actually issue 214, one issue later, but this is the most expensive one. You know, you've got just this incredible sci-fi cover again. And then this character here was, from what I understand, was actually used as inspiration for Chewbacca in the Star Wars franchise. So just something else that really kind of like adds to this book. But Famous Funnies number 213, 40. Again, pretty solid presenting copy, a little bit of like paint or something on the cover up here. But overall, solid presenting copy. Definitely one that I'm happy with, and was happy to add to my keeper list of books. Because yeah, this one took me a long time to get. it was a long time before I was able to finally pick up this book. All right, so now number 12, another one that I showed recently, and I still haven't decided if this one's going on the keeper list yet. It probably is, but then I have to think about what I'm going to kick off. But this is All-Star Comics number 4, 6-0, white pages. This is the first adventure of the Justice Society of America. I like this cover because you've got them kind of like running on the cover. They're in action on the cover. You've got just so many members of that Justice Society. You've got Hawkman, Green Lantern, Dr. Fate, the Spectre, Sandman, the Flash, Hourman, and then in the video that I did previously, I did not know who this character was. And I had a few people mention that this is the Golden Age Atom. So that's the Golden Age Atom on there. But just an incredible copy of this one. And you can see, again, just like that Superman number 9, you've got that similar ad on the back there, just bright yellow, the advertisement for the BB guns, and just an incredible presenting copy of this. Because, I mean, like I said, 6-0, white pages from 1941. Just nuts to me. So yep, the colors on this one are really what has been making me consider adding this to the keeper list. It's just, this copy just, it looks so great. All right, then number 11, before we move on to the top 10. So number 11, another one that I recently picked up, Catman Comics number 28. Classic LB Cole cover, but the big thing with this one as well is that this is the, let's see here, this is the Cosmic Aeroplane pedigree. And I mentioned this when I did that unboxing. I know some people don't care about pedigrees, but I do. I like the pedigrees. I like how you have that little bit of extra history behind the book. And the Cosmic Aeroplane pedigree, if you didn't watch that unboxing video, this one is the name of the comic shop that actually bought the collection. The collection was brought in by the original owner's sister. He had been an art teacher, and he used the comics to help with his classes. And so a lot of the interior pages will have tracings on them over some of the images. They'll have notes in the margins, that kind of thing. So I think this is just a really cool pedigree. It has that little bit of extra history with it. And then I really like the name. I love the name. So I've talked about that. I'm definitely sending this one back in to get their new gold label. So I'll be getting this one reslabbed, but definitely on the keeper list. All right, so now we are into the top 10. So number 10, this is Blue Beetle number 54. This is this classic Good Girl art cover. It was used in Seduction of the Innocent. And so I've had some people talk about this, and so I thought I would bring this up again. So you can see how, like on the reflection in the image, she's wearing her top that has the strap around the back. It's not here. So some people have been saying that the reason for that isn't because they like missed something in the art, but it's to make it look even more revealing on the cover. So I could definitely buy that it was so that, like, what could they get away with, and that was them trying to get away with a little bit more on the cover. But this is, like I said, classic good girl art type cover. You've got this guy in the background that's going to attack this woman. There were about 8 to 10 issues in the Blue Beetle run that were these good girl art type covers. This is definitely the biggest one, the most expensive one of that. And I picked this one up at the same time I picked up that Spirit 22. So that was an awesome pair of books that I was able to pick up, because both of them are in my on my keeper list right now. All right. Now number 9. This is actually the second time that I've owned this book, which after I sold it the first time, I wasn't sure if I'd get another copy again. But this is Detective Comics number 225. This is the first appearance of Martian Manhunter, and one of the original members of the Justice League. He is unfortunately not on the cover, but they do mention him. You've got Martian Manhunter from Mars on the top there. So at least you have the text of the character on the cover there, but he is not on the cover of this book. But 5.0, solid presenting copy of this one. But from 1955, just right on the edge of the Golden Age to Silver Age. So technically Golden Age, even though it has the Comics Code Authority, but right on the edge of that transition. All right, now number 8. We've talked about this book a number of times. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 3. But this one, not only is it signed by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, and no, it's not a yellow label because they signed on the interior, and they signed it before they did the this was likely signed back in 1985 at the original convention where these were released, because what this is the variant cover. And so you can see here that if you've seen the original or the one that's more common, it's got more of like a green tint to it, and you'll have where this white is, it'll be filled in with like a light blue or light blue green. But on this one, it's called the, what do they call it? The Laird's photo in white on cover. So they call it the Laird's white photo variant. But that's because of this, it says Laird's photo here, where Laird's is in white. And it's not just there, it's all over the cover, where you have a lot more white on the cover. Personally, I like the look of the variant more than the one that it was intended to be. I think the blue looks better. The blue on the white looks better, but it's one of these wraparound covers. The early TMNT books were all these wraparound covers. But yeah, this is a 9.6, so really high grade copy, white pages of this variant cover, which this is a extremely rare issue of this book. There were only, what was it, like 300 copies that were printed, and there's some I did a video on this earlier this year where it was originally estimated that there were 500, but from what I've seen, it seems like it's more likely that there were just 300. So you can go and check out that video that I did a while ago about that, where I went over those kind of like those details. But yep, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 3, variant edition. But yeah, super rare book, cool book to have picked up. All right, number 7. This is actually an upgrade to a book that was already on my keeper list. This is Startling Terror Tales number 11. I had a 1.8. Well, I still have the 1.8. It's up for sale now. But now I have the 4.0. This is this classic cover by L.B. Cole, where he has this character where it's like a spider with a skull head. And the first time you see that character is in Suspense Comics number 8. And this is like 7 years later. I think that was in like 1944 or 45. I still can't remember. But this is 1952, so this is like 7 years later, and he just upped the violence and the creep factor on this one, where he added some blood to the character's mouth, the head's there, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, Startling Terror Tales number 11. Now number 6. It's another one that I picked up recently. This is All Top Comics number 16. This is this Matt Baker cover, and he is the Golden Age good girl art cover artist. I mean, that is what he is most known for. That's where, like, he did Phantom Lady 17, which is, at least in terms of sales price, is the most expensive non-hero Golden Age book, even though I think Suspense Comics 3 would pass it if it actually had a higher grade copy sell. But that was like, because it was like a 9.6 of Fan Only Do 17 that sold for like 456,000, something like that. But this is All Top Comics number 16, a really nice condition copy, a 6.5. These Fox Feature Syndicate books are tough to get nice condition copies in. They used lower quality materials, so you tend to get lower grade books that just didn't really last the test of time. But yeah, this is definitely the top book from this run. And it's just funny. I had somebody point out that, you know, it's like this octopus only has 7 legs when I did the prior video. And it's like, you know, he's an artist. He's not a mathematician. so you've got the 7-leg octopus on the cover here. So for All Top number 16, classic Matt Baker, you know, Rula, the Jungle Goddess cover. All right, so now number 5. This one definitely on my keeper list. I had been trying to get a copy of this book ever since I saw it. I love the style of this cover. This is Walt Disney's Comics and Stories number 1, 4.5, which for this book is actually a pretty high grade. This book is very difficult to get outside of like a 2.0. And so it's got this great Donald Duck cover where he's opening the page there. This is the issue where the title changed from Mickey Mouse Magazine to Walt Disney's Comics and Stories. But yeah, 4.5, really nice condition copy for this one. Even though 4.5 might sound low, it is not for this book. I am going to try to see if I can get this one re-slabbed into a standard size slab. It should fit. I've measured it, but that's definitely, it's one I'm also planning on sending back in to see if I can get into the smaller case. But regardless, super happy with it. Walt Disney's Comics and Stories number 1 in a 4.5. All right, now number 4, a book that I have not showed on the channel yet, because I was very upset when I got this one back. It is still number 4 on my list. It is still a keeper book, but I was very upset about this book for a number of reasons. But this is Crime Suspense Stories number 22. This is a 5.0. The reason I was upset is that I think that this is a solid 5.5. I am not happy that this got a 5.0. It was also, I wasn't happy because it was sold as a 6.5. So there were reasons I was upset with what happened with this book, but still, this one is this is this classic Johnny Craig cover. This is like one of the pre-code horror cover comics. You know, I mean, you've got the decapitated woman. This is one of the books that was held up during the Senate hearings, you know, where there was conversations about if this was, what was the exact word? If this was a tasteful cover or not. But yeah, I'm still very happy with the book. You know, it's cool to have a nice like mid-grade copy, a very nice presenting copy. But I mean, like I said, I did not agree with the grading on this one. And while it may only be a half grade, you know, where I said like a 5.5 versus a 5, I mean, with books like this, that half grade is a big deal. And so yeah, so I was frustrated with this one when it came back from CGC. But still, 5.0. It is the number 4 pickup for me for this year. And I am still happy with it. It's an upgrade from the prior copy that I had that I ended up selling to a buddy of mine. And, but yeah, 5.0. Awesome book. Yeah, still, should be a 5.5. But, you know, what can you do about it? Other than resubmit, which I have been considering doing, but it's expensive to resubmit. And then, you know, what if it gets damaged, all that kind of stuff. All right, now number 3, another book that I have not shown on the channel, again, because I was upset about it when it got back. Now, this one is Fantastic Four number 1. Now, I'm not upset that it had the purple label. I was expecting that. It says it is trimmed. I knew it was trimmed. But the thing I'm upset about is the grade, is the 2.0. Now, I was expecting a 2.5. I still think this book should be a 2.5. It's just something I feel like with restored books, it's like they grade them harder than if they weren't restored. I don't get it, because this is not a 2.0 book. It just looks too nice. It is not a 2.0. The other thing I was just in general frustrated about with this book, just like with that last one, is that this one was sold as a 3.0. And, you know, there is a major value difference when you're talking about books like this. And so it's one of these things I talk about where I feel like, especially if you're selling big books like this, you should be a little conservative with your grading. You know, you shouldn't be stretching to try to see, like, advertise a book as that much higher, especially with really expensive books like that. And so that really upset me with this one, because when I got it, I was like, ugh, that's not a 3.0. I still thought it was a 2.5, and then it got a 2.0, which makes me even more upset. But you know, it happens. And but yeah, so Fantastic Four #1, first appearance of Fantastic Four. Really solid presenting copy. You know, it's got this tanning and stuff on the edges, and like I said, it's got that top edge trimmed. But then there's the back cover there. But yeah, 2.0, first appearance of Fantastic Four. So yeah, I've got this one over here too. So you know, on the list, you know, Fantastic Four #2, and then #1. Quite a few rungs higher on the list there, because that's #3 for my pickups this year. So now, if you watch my channel, you should probably have been able to guess what the #2 and #1 books are. It's just a question of which order they would be in. So this is #2. This is Detective Comics #168. First appearance of the Red Hood. Incredible presenting 1.8. The issue is that the cover is detached, and so that really holds the book back. It's also got a pretty sizable spine split down here. However, I was talking about this recently. I'd seen some other Golden Age books with detached covers and worse spine splitting that got like a 2, and I think one got a 2.5. I almost feel like I should send this one back in or something like that. Maybe I could get a slightly better grade. But I mean, back cover looks incredible too. And so this is another one of these, you know, great back covers with the advertisements for the BB guns. But yeah, so like, it's not like there's any big pieces missing or anything. It's just detached cover and then this split down here. You know, and there's other little bits of damage, but overall, solid copy. But the big thing, in addition to being the first appearance of the Red Hood, is that this is the Promise Collection pedigree. I wanted to pick up a Promise Collection book, and I was definitely excited that this was one of them. I've bought a couple Promise Collection books over the year, but this is the biggest one by far. So, Detective Comics #168, 1.8, Promise Collection, first appearance of the Red Hood. Awesome cover. All right, then that means that #1, my #1 pickup for this year, and honestly, these are the top 2 books overall on my list that I have, not just from this year. And this is Captain America #74. This is this classic Red Skull cover. It's from 1949. This is when they had a couple issues near the end of the run there where they were kind of like transitioning into some horror style covers. But unlike issue 75, which is one issue later, that issue 75 doesn't have Captain America on the cover. Issue 74 does. Also, this amazing Red Skull cover, I think arguably the best Golden Age Red Skull cover, because a lot of the other Red Skull covers, there are great ones. I mean, like Captain America Comics #3 is a great Red Skull cover, but there's all kinds of other stuff going on the cover of those other Red Skull covers. They're often Schomburg covers, which means there's just a ton going on them. Whereas this one, it's just this focal central image of the Red Skull, awesome red cover, and a solid presenting 3.5. You know, I think the main thing with this one is it's like damage along the spine. I've had some people say that I should consider trying to send it back in. Maybe it could get a bump. And it's definitely something I've thought about, but man, like these are expensive books to send in to get regraded, because you've got to do walkthrough, and so I'm just not sure if I want to risk it, and then with the potential that it comes back lower. That's always a risk that comes with that too. This is my #1 pickup for this year, and my #1 book in my collection overall, my #1 keeper book, Captain America Comics #74, 1949, classic Red Skull cover. So that was my top 25 pickups this year. Anybody that watches the channel, if you've got a YouTube channel, I'd love to see, you know, your top pickups this year as well. It doesn't have to be 25. It could be 5, 10, 50, whatever you want it to be. But yeah, if you make a video like that, make sure to tag me, and I'll share it out there into the YouTube universe as well. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I've got more videos over here if you'd like to watch some of my other videos, and the subscription button right here. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.